Welcome to the Slade Ham Experiment. Experiment, not experience, as I was introduced at my show last Wednesday. Thank you guys for coming out. All of you who made it to the Houston Improv. It was a fantastic show. It's the one I've been talking about for a long time with my good buddy Jerry Wayne Longmire. Sam Damaris was on the show, former Whiskey Brother leader Rob Mungle was on the show. It was a good night. It was a very good night. Worked out a new hour's worth of stuff, which means the special will be forthcoming. Thank you guys for buying all the tickets and coming out to the show and hanging out and doing all the cool things that you did. I made some comments at the show. I was doing a chunk of material, and I mentioned punching a meth head. And I said, that's a very Beaumont, Texas thing to ask of you in understanding, right? Nobody, who knows about punching meth heads? People from Beaumont. We know it. It's a thing. It's ours. I made the comment, and I mentioned that I did it in my hometown, and I mentioned I did it on the way to the Mexican restaurant in my hometown, and I said the Mexican restaurant, and I also alluded to maybe it being at the stoplight. I made my hometown sound smaller than it is. And I don't want to give that conception. But I don't want to let my town off the hook. We're all from somewhere. I'm from a city called Beaumont, Texas. If you don't know where it is, you're not alone. No one knows where it is. Unless you're on I-10 and within 30 miles of Beaumont, Texas, you don't know where Beaumont is. It's why I've told people I'm from Houston as I travel the world, because you go, I'm from Beaumont. They go, where? And you go, it's near Houston. And they go, oh, well, that makes, so I just said Houston and cut out the middleman because it kept me from having to explain this travesty of a town that I come from. Every city has a thing. In Texas, San Antonio has the Alamo. Houston, my adopted home city, has NASA. Dallas has Applebee's. But Beaumont doesn't have anything. It's no real identity. I can't figure out. I think that's why I'm so angry at it, is because I don't know what it is. I'm from there. I'm of it. The Beaumont. As the French would say, beautiful mountain. We'll address that in a moment. But I don't know what it means to be from there. It's cultural tofu. It's Texas without the Mexicans. It's Louisiana adjacent without any of the Cajuns. It's so close to all these things without being a thing. It's like at the crossroads of nothing and nowhere, where those two things meet. If you were traveling to the gateway of mediocrity, you would have to go through this sprawling metropolis. It's not any size. You can't. Somebody made a comment because I called it a small town. And it's not a small town. That place is huge. Well, it's relative because everything's relative. I live in Houston, a city of somewhere between 2 and 9 million people, depending on who's doing the counting and who gets counted. It's a massive map. If you laid the Houston map over many regions of Europe, it would cover multiple countries. So by comparison, my hometown at 115,000 people is small. It's too big to be a small town, and it's too small to be a big town. It's the Goldilocks of places you don't want to be from. That's how I describe my home. It's made every list you can think of, and none of them are good. None of it. It's been on, and I know this because people send me these messages. The only thing I ever hear about Beaumont, they make a footloose joke, even though I don't think that Beaumont's spelled the same way. And then they point out the list. Well, hey, I saw your hometown on another list. Technically, I should explain that it's not just my hometown. Like a bully and its bad siblings. You know what I mean? They come in a group. Remember those kids who chased, remember the never-ending story we talked, remember the kids who chasing them? That was a group of bullies. They weren't individual bullies. They were a group of them. Fry Guys. You know what I mean? The ghosts in Pac-Man. So Beaumont pals around with Port Arthur and Orange. Orange, Texas, Port Arthur, Texas. And what's called the Golden Triangle when you attach them to Beaumont. 3 vertices on this triangle of nothingness. Absolute nothingness. Frequently the fattest, the saddest, the most polluted, most miserable, the most uneducated. These are all real lists that my hometown has not just made, but excelled on. Beaumont doesn't just limp in and make the list. No. They top them. And I don't know why. The people of Beaumont are good folk. I guess it's like Dallas in that I do like the people in small packages, but once you put them together under the particular moniker of Beaumont, what is that? Why does that happen? Why is there some cumulative effect that turns places into terrible? This is from an actual study they did. This wasn't even about any particular bad trait. This is just a study of how of worst places to exist. They looked at everything from financial security to work environments, physical and emotional health, and access to healthy food, all included in this questionnaire about how lovely it is to live wherever you're stuck. And for the second year in a row, the Beaumont, Port Arthur area, I don't have the information to see who came in dead last. But out of how many metropolitan areas do you think there are in the United States? I'll tell you in a moment. I know this because of my radio career, and they tell you in there, what market you are. So I know that Beaumont was down there. So out of 189 metropolitan markets, Beaumont came in 184th. A mere 5 from the bottom, Beaumont and Port Arthur and Orange. You get all sucked in there, Fry Guys. This is my people. This is where I come from. This is the stock I'm bred from. I don't know what would make you stop in Beaumont long enough to do what you have to do to become a city. It's impossible to become a city in the few short months that this climate affords you. You would have to get here in late October, maybe early November. And you would have to be a full-blown city full of people who aren't moving by March. or else you would never stay here. This place right now, and I get it, it's getting warmer, but not by like 10 or 20 degrees. It's similar, a couple of degrees. And in the summertime, if you don't have air conditioning here, you die. You're just dead. You're dead. I'm sorry. Did you evaporate? Of course you evaporated. Beaumont was originally, look at this. The first settlers in Beaumont, Texas, Noah and Nancy Tevis. I'm familiar with Tevis Bluff on the Natchez River. Perhaps that's them. They built a farm there. The rest is history. Okay, okie doke. Is it history? Why would you stay there, Noah Tevis? You had to not just, let me tell you all the terrible things you're up against, right? I'll give you the heat. The heat kicks in. Then the humidity comes to get you. 100% it's not raining outside. It's humid. I don't know what regular humidity is, but I think anything over about 40% starts to suck. Once you get up to 80, 90, you get out of the shower, and you didn't really get out of the shower. You're just still wet, and you dry off, but you're wet because your towel's already wet because the air is just saturated. Your fish could get out of the aquarium and go to the kitchen and get some more water if they wanted to, and never bat an eye. It would just be wet enough for fish to walk. And then you got to make it through the mosquitoes. I don't care about any other bug on this planet, right? I'm not talking about the palmetto bug, the giant roaches with leather wings. They come flapping in, pick up your dog, and take it back to the colony. You already battled all those. You made it through the snakes, the water moccasins. You built a farm somehow. But there's no way you sealed it tight enough. You can't seal a box like that and it be that hot. So you would have to have some air. And if there's a place for air, I don't know when they invented screens for windows, but I don't think it was in 1830, whenever the shit they invented Beaumont, 34. So you're going to tell me that they just slept through these monsters? You've never seen mosquitoes like we have mosquitoes down here. They're unholy creatures. There is certainly a rift in the ground or wherever the hole to hell is, and they come up and they eat babies and they suck animals dry and they cut cattle's throats and sometimes they move your car in the middle of the night. We have terrible mosquitoes. What was Nancy Tevis made of? Yeah, she just stuck it out with Noah. Maybe Noah stuck it out with Nancy. Maybe Nancy was the baller in this equation. That's on me for just assuming that she was I mean, culturally back then, there weren't too many, women running the household. But with a name like Noah, probably so. I bet she did run shit. He had to write the petition letter. This is hilarious. This is the original petition letter from Noah in Nacogdoches, Texas, December 13th, 1834. My dad was born in Nacogdoches. To the Special Commissioner of His Excellency Lorenzo de la Zavala's colony, Noah Tevis, a native of the United States of the North, with due respect, would appear before you and says that induced by the liberal provisions of the colonization laws of this state, I have come with my family, composed of my wife and 7 children, Jesus, Noah, to settle in it. If in view of the accompanying certificate you deem it proper to admit me as a colonist of said colony, granting me the quantity of land to which I am entitled in the vacant territory of the same, therefore I request to you that you do as aforesaid, wherein I shall receive justice and favor. He had to write all that, probably with a feather pen. Where do you learn to do that? Where's the school for how to ask the government for land in 1834, right? I couldn't ask the government to change my car registration the other day because my insurance I had the insurance, but the inspection had been done like 6 days. I was in a room with the Google and the people and the stuff, and we could look everything up, and we all had access to the whole world. We could get right on a phone and call somebody and ask them, and they still didn't have an answer for how I could just do a simple thing like register my car in 2022. Yet somehow Noah Tevis has figured out the proper verbiage to petition the state. If in view of the accompanying certificate, you deem it proper to admit me as a colonist of said colony. I just picture him sitting up all night sweating by candlelight. 7 kids, Noah? Tell me something else about Noah. 7 kids. Yeah, they're all up, prancing around the room. You're trying to write your stupid article to the state. Please let me have some land. The kids are all crying in the background. Shut your mouth. This is not their names. A typical family of that period, the pioneers that laid out the town of Beaumont, the Noah Tevis family, composed of Mr. and Miss Tevis and their up to 8 children here. Okay, let's get the easy ones out of the way. Lavessa, who married Daniel Chester, and Delilah, who married Pierre Lemon, and Mary Tevis. Those are the normal kids. There was a Roland. There was another Noah. There was also an Andrew Jackson, a George Washington, and a Napoleon Bonaparte. Go to bed, Napoleon Bonaparte. I'm trying to write the letter to ask the people if we could have the land we built the house on for your mom, who's really running shit. Get off me, Andrew Jackson. Go play with George Washington. I mean, how many names did you know in 1834 without the internet or a baby book? You just had to, whatever you heard, right? The president from 60 years ago. Oh, that's absurd. My poor hometown. It's all your fault, Noah Tevis, who died a year after they granted his petition, and then his wife ran off and sold the land to some other people and got remarried. Beaumont is built on cursed ground. I bet Noah Tevis haunts that place. And that's assuming there's no Native American fuckery going on under there either. What a, rice, oil. Beaumont. That is French for beautiful mountain, and it is neither beautiful nor a mountain. It's not even a hill. It's 16 feet above sea level. It floods constantly. Constantly. Water flows downhill into Beaumont. And I say every last bit of this with love in my heart for you, Beaumont. You are my, I am you, and you are me. And I get it. There's no, we are attached at the hip. I'm on the Wikipedia page, I think, still for one of the notable people from Beaumont, along with like 2 baseball players and some musicians. If I'm not, I should be again. Somebody go fix my Wikipedia. Here's who's from Beaumont that you would know. Let's do that. Who would you know from Beaumont? The musicians, and I'm gonna rope Port Arthur in there too. And we're gonna have to claim by proxy, by the fact that it's surrounded in the triangle, Vidor, Texas, also another little place just up the street on I-10 that you might remember from some TV shows in the 80s and 90s about places you didn't want to live. So it was on Montel. The Big Bopper is from Beaumont. He died in the plane crash. You know what I mean? I think that with the La Bamba dude. Johnny and Edgar Winter are from Beaumont, the albino guitar players. They sang a song. Frankenstein? Was that them? I can't remember. I know who they are. I just don't know what they sing. There's a big song that they sang. I'm going to have to look it up in a second. George Jones, Tracy Byrd, Mark Chestnut are all from there. They were mainly the Vidor part. They were, everybody knows their songs. What did Johnny and Edgar Winter sing? Frankenstein. See, that was an instrumental song, I remember. What else? Free Ride. Is that them? Wow. Okay. Stuff I didn't know I knew. All right. Janis Joplin, ZZ Top, Port Arthur. UGK, Port Arthur. That's all us. And then probably my favorite person from Beaumont that nobody knows is from Beaumont, nobody thinks about, nobody cares about, nobody really, I don't know. It's I like him because I like him, but Larry Graham he was the bassist for Sly and the Family Stone, but he was also Graham Central Station, and the reason that I think I'm such a fan, I remember seeing them live when they opened for Prince. I am clearly dating myself here. And I swore up until recently that I saw this concert New Year's Eve, 1998, going into 1999. And I've since been correct. I'm almost certain now I watched that 97 going into 98. I remember the girl I was dating. I guess I could trace it back that way. That was one of the most. So Graham Central Station came out and rocked this place. We might have gotten there. I don't know how long this night was. I'll have to go do the math. The show must have started at 7. Doors probably at 7. Show starts at 8. Graham Central Station comes out. Blew the roof off. It was the Compact Center at the time. Now it's Lakewood Church, which always makes me smile. The heathen stuff I did in that building. So Graham Central Station comes out, and then there's a small break. I remember all the lights being on as they came walking. Dude, they walked through the whole venue in like 100 music. I'm exaggerating. It was incredible. And then Prince played 36 songs that night. New Year's Eve, Compact Center in Houston. Here's how good the show was. He played Purple Rain 5th. I remember the whole building. 5th song comes on. I'll pull up the set list. I've got it. I saved it because I went and looked at it. I remember all the house lights going down. Then they came back up. The stage lights all purple. Just him and a guitar. Later on, they had the piano set. He came out. Darlin' Nikki was in that, but so was... Oh, man, I got to go back. I got to pull that list up. Such a good concert. They don't make concerts like that anymore. And I know that's been said 1,000 times. They don't make them like they used to. Some dumb concert. There's the set list. They open with Jam of the Year. Delirious was 4th. Purple Rain 5th. Little Red Corvette 6th. Ugh. The Beautiful Ones was in that piano set. That's the Ballad of Dorothy Parker. He was touring on, I remember, he was touring on the Emancipation album, which was the triple disc album he put out, getting out of his Warner Brothers contract. But he had also that same year put out Chaos and Disorder. That was the same year. Hey, Google, what year did Chaos and Disorder come out by Prince? Let's see how right I am. This little... 1996. Okay, so 97. That's when then this concert was 97. He put that out in 96. Then the triple disc. Maybe that was. Hey Google, what year did Emancipation come out by Prince? Was that 96 too? It's 1996. The initial release date of Emancipation was November 19th, 1996. Okay, so that was the year. Did I go see Prince in 96 going into 90? When was this concert? Jesus, some New Year's Eve going into some New Year's Day, I watched Prince play 36 songs. And it went all night. I think he played, that's why I'm looking at this list. He played Auld Lang Syne at It was the 12th song, which makes me think that he did that at midnight, which means we must have stayed in that place till 2 a.m. till they kicked us out. That's the only, man, that is, all the good parts are seared into my memory, and I didn't waste any. That's how you know it's a good memory. I didn't waste a single bit of hard drive space on the win, any of those details that weren't going to matter. Seared in my brain is him humping that piano while he screamed "Darling Nikki" into the sky of what would soon be Lakewood Church. With that girl I'm so glad I never ended up with forever. We'd have had kids. We'd have had to name them Andrew Jackson and Napoleon Bonaparte. And Prince Rogers Nelson. That would likely be one of the kids' names, because that was a hell of a night. What was on the encore? What did he play? Kiss, Get Off, 18 and Over, 2 NPG songs, Baby I'm a Star, and he closed on 1999. Maybe that's why it's in my head, because he closed the encore set. Anyway, some of you will never know the joy of watching Prince live in concert. You have the halftime show. That's all you'll ever have. We're so lucky we got that. Might be the most perfect day. The most perfect moment in human history might be February 4th, 2007, when Prince played the halftime show at the Super Bowl. And it actually it rained, and he was on the stage in high heels, like a glass stage. The dude's wearing high heels. He made it rain. It's just one of the most perfect moments in all of human history. We should all, every time we get upset, we should go back and watch that again and remember that we're capable of perfection. And instead, we're doing whatever's happening in Russia. We're better than this. I have shows coming up in October, later this month, I guess. If you're in Canada, it's a good time to be Canadian. I'm coming to see you. So I think October 18th through the 25th, I start out in Toronto, which is my favorite comedy city in the world. So don't let me down, Toronto. Show up. I got a lot of memories I'm trying to get out of my head about you. So I want some new ones. And then I'm going to Ottawa. We're going to finish up there. And I'm bringing a brand new show. So Houston got it. Now you're going to get it. Then we're going to record it. A lot of good things around the corner. Sladeham.com for all things me. You can go to my YouTube page if you feel so inspired. These episodes are there in video. If you just happen to be listening to the audio version, there's also long-form versions of my stand-up. There's also travelogues if you're into that. Slade Runner episodes will take you around, 20-something countries throughout the world. And I'll introduce you to my friends through there. Every other social media platform, I can encourage you to follow me. I can't tell you what I'm going to be posting. It's just, I'm still just not moved. So come see me live. Continue to listen to this. I'll respond to every comment if you leave one. And as always, thank you for listening to the Slade Ham Experiment.